This is Just a Few Questions. I'm Marc Sims. My guest is Heidi Henry. Heidi Henry is a horse stable owner, a rabble rouser, a Democrat, and an Episcopalian. Welcome to the show, Heidi Henry.
You forgot podcaster.
Well, you said you're starting back the Heartland Mamas, right?
I am. I'm working on it right now.
Wow. So all they got to do is just type in Heartland Mamas, right?
The Heartland Mamas podcast. I have a website. I'm on Blue Sky, Facebook, all of that stuff.
Okay, there you go. So tell us just a little bit about your quote unquote last adventure into electoral politics.
I ran as a Democrat in the Illinois 75th House of Representatives, which is the fastest growing district in the state of Illinois. So that was my last adventure in politics, and will be my last adventure in politics.
So how did that go?
I was 60-40 split, and I was in the 40. So I did not prevail.
But it's a red district. I mean, it's a Republican district, right?
It's a gerrymandered red district. Yes, it was made not for the guy that I ran against, but his predecessor. It was cut exactly for him, and he lost his primary 2.5 years ago, to a very far right MAGA guy. And so I really thought I could take out the far right MAGA guy, and I just couldn't. I couldn't move him.
Yeah,
couldn't move the needle.
It's quite all right. Your area of Illinois wouldn't be called an exurb of Chicago, but I had a gentleman on the show, David Mastiottra. I say his name right, David Mastiottra, something like that. He's a really good guy. Met him in person. David Mastiottra. His book is called The Exurbs or something like that. The Exurbs. Look it up, people. And so your area of Illinois wouldn't be called an exurbs, but is a fast growing area. Why is that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the cost of housing, because we're right along the I-80 and I-88 corridors. You know, the one runs right to the south of the district, and the other one runs to the north of the district. So if you work in the city or work in the near west or near south suburbs, you can get a house out here a lot cheaper. Rent out here is a lot cheaper than it is in Bayou. So people can, have a big buck job in the city and live out here and have a decent place to live. So I think that's why it's so growing so fast.
And is it? I don't know your town that way. I used to go, roll out there on I-80 like a lot of people going toward the Quad Cities. Mm-hmm. And is it some of the people they move in? Because I don't want to be mean, but some of the suburbs across America and Chicago, there are more multicultural than they were when I was a kid. So some people may say, you know what, I want to live in a more racial homogeneous neighborhood, and because the suburbs I had to get into racially or whatever, and I got to go out to the sticks. Is that some of that in your town?
Geez, I don't know anybody who moved out here for that reason. Where I live in the district is rural, but most of the district is suburban. So it's Oswego and Yorkville, which is very diverse. The demographics are in Plainfield, Minooka, it's got a lot of diversity. A lot of different people live there. And where I live, it's majority white. And I don't know if it's because of the jobs that we do, because a lot of people are farmers out here. But I know some excellent Black horsemen. I know some excellent Mexican horsemen, and women. And some of them live near me, but not as many as I would like. That would be wonderful if we had more diversity where I live.
And some people don't want diversity, believe it or not. Let me go far here. Let me go back to my question, my main question here. Let me go back to it. But you were on the Ben Joravsky show. You were excellent. Listen to Ben Joravsky show. Heidi Henry, great episode. And you talked about the Democratic Party writ large, and of course the the Democratic Party of Illinois. Mm-hmm. And you said they don't really listen to you, the rural voters out there where you are. So the question for me is that what do rural voters out in your neighborhood in Illinois, toward the western part of the state, what do they want?
They want to be heard. I think like any demographic, they want to be heard, because we're in Illinois flyover country. So they're going to go from, Chicago, Will County, Cook County, DuPage County, and they're going to fly over us to get to Springfield, right? They're not going to stop out here and look around and see what's going on. They don't really care because we don't have enough people to swing an election for the state party. So why should the state party put money into my race when it's not going to get them anything, right? Like I don't run in the same circles as the speaker. I don't run in the same circles as the people who serve closer into the city where there's more population. So where I'm at, there's just not enough of us to make a big difference. However, if the last election showed us anything, the hate and contempt for state politics, for the Biden administration, it grows out here in the rural areas, and it grows out here because the Republican Party nurtures the hate. They can find people that say, you know what, no one's paid attention to me for decades. You're paying attention to me. You're going to get my vote. And it doesn't matter what I do when the state party, the state Democratic Party, won't do anything to message about the accomplishments of the Pritzker administration, when they don't do anything to talk about the benefits of the Biden administration. I can't even get them to talk about the wonderful things that Congresswoman Underwood has done for our district. Nothing. It's just radio silence out here. So anybody who runs out here that doesn't have an R after their name is pushing a rock up the hill. And I do my best. When I campaign for myself, I carry the literature for my friend and Congresswoman Lauren Underwood. I carry the literature for people I know that are running for the county board or the county board president or the county auditor, judges. I carry everybody's stuff with me because I know that it's going to take all of us. Each of us needs all of us to get the messaging across. We don't have the support we need from the state party, so we have to support each other. And some candidates do it and some of them don't, but I'm a big believer in a rising tide lifts all boats. So when I'm campaigning, I make sure that I bring everybody with me. We have some dynamic people in Kendall County. We have some dynamic people in DeKalb County. We have some dynamic people here in LaSalle County and in Will County. I only have one precinct in Will County, but those are people that I've known for years and years and years. And of course I want to help them reach their goal, because that rising tide, it not only lifts all the politicians or people running for office, it lifts the people in the district. It lifts all of us and brings us our needs to the fore, because we get left out of the discussions on healthcare, on transportation, on infrastructure. When they talk about the I-80 corridor, they're not talking about out by me. They're talking Joliet and East, and our areas out here will be left, falling to pieces.
I mean, my way I see it, I'm thinking we're about, 50, 60, 70 miles apart, right? From where
Probably,
I'm on the far south side. People are people. And what I want from the Democratic Party and America in general, especially my age, I want to secure and expand Social Security, secure and expand Medicaid and Medicare, okay? And so I think that most people want the same thing. But people voted. Some people, they vote against the interest. I understand all that kind of stuff. But why do people think that? What are they getting from the Republican Party? Something. What tangible benefit some of the voters out where you are getting from the Republican Party?
Well, number one, it's attention. They have their undivided attention, and they have a lot of hate simmering. Right? They're mad.
What are they getting for us? Like a new hospital, health care?
Nothing.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about something where you can. Nothing. I mean, I hear. I'm sorry to cut you off. Please forgive me doing that. But I was on the bench show. I got to mention on the show, now that you finished with your comment, I saw this guy. It's an old book, and it's got to be a year old. Steve Kahn. He wrote a book called Lies of the Lambs, because I'm into these C-SPAN videos, so I don't know if I get to the book, but I might. But go to C-SPAN and type in Steve Kahn, Lies of the Land. He talks about the reality of rural America. Do the people who live out there, do they understand the reality of rural America?
Well, no, because they're not getting the message that they're voting against their own interest. And as far as Trump goes, and even my opponent and some of the other very far right people that run out here, they're getting what I call the bigger bully. You know, they're feeling downtrodden. They're feeling bad about their life. They're feeling bad about their life's choices, right? So the Republican Party has given them someone to blame for that. That's why out here you'll see the Pritzker sucks signs everywhere, everywhere. And yet, when I talk to the farmers and the local people that have that, and I remind them that the Trump administration, the original tariffs, cut off trade to Mexico, our largest trading partner for corn and soybeans. And our governor, Pritzker, had to go to Taiwan to sell our crops. Our Illinois crops went to Taiwan and have been going to Taiwan. And that hurt everybody. He secured a really good payment for those crops. However, it would have been a quicker solution to not have picked a fight with Mexico and kept up our trading partners with that. The only thing those tariffs did was increase crop production in South America. It took out a lot more of the rainforest. It's like such a big picture. But see, all these guys know is that they've got a bully. They've got a bully that can play worldwide wrestler and take out the people that they're mad at. They don't realize that they're really mad at Ronald Reagan. They don't realize that the person they're mad at wasn't part of their life, right? They don't remember him. They don't remember when he changed the tax structure. They don't remember when Nixon brought us Earl Butz, who changed the crops that we grow in the United States and changed agriculture structure and caused the farm collapse in 1980 under Carter. That was all from Nixon. And then, then we had Reagan come in, who changed the tax structure and crushed the middle class. Now, when you're driving around out here, the difference between a farm family and a corporate farm, an incorporated farm, is in a family farm, nobody's in the driveway during the day. For a corporation farm, a farm corporation, that driveway's full because people go to work there. That's a regular business. The family farmers all have other jobs. Most of them are in the trades. So they take off every day to drive in towards Joliet to work in the building trades so that they can support the land that they live on. A lot of those people aren't making enough money, so they depend on SNAP. And they're farmers. They're growing food, but they don't grow food you can eat. They grow food that's turned into ethanol. They grow food becomes corn chips, but you can't eat it right out of the field. All of that stuff is stuff they don't understand. But that stuff changed for a lot of them before they were born. So they're really mad at Earl Butz under the Nixon administration and who caused the farm collapse. And they're really mad at Ronald Reagan. They just don't realize that. And because we don't message the fact that the money at the top has flowed all to the top and crushed all the rest of us in the middle and at the bottom, they don't know who to aim. All they know is that there's a big blowhard going to be installed in Washington again that's going to give them a voice for their angst. He's not going to help them a damn bit. But now that they control everything, they've got everything they ever wished for now in Washington, D.C., they out here will still blame Pritzker when things go wrong. But I want to tell you something, Mark. You probably aren't aware. We have not passed a farm bill because our Congress is so inept, right? We've got the worst Congress ever in history right now. They've kicked the farm bill down the road because they want to end SNAP. There's nothing wrong. I pay my taxes. You pay your taxes so that people can eat. I want my money to go to people who are hungry. I want them to help those people. But instead, the farmers out here are looking, well, when I get my subsidy check, and believe me, welfare queens, like you wouldn't believe, those are the real welfare queens because they get crop insurance in case they don't get enough production. They get subsidies in case the market goes wonky, and they can buy whatever they want. But if you read Project 2025, the government, the Heritage Foundation, Elon Musk wants to get rid of all farm subsidies. They want to get rid of crop insurance. They want to get rid of farm subsidies, and because they want to get rid of SNAP. They're going after SNAP, but they also want to do this. And what that's going to cause is a collapse in agriculture bigger than 1980. And it'll be, I worked for the banks in 1980. I was pulling in crops for Gary Wheaton Bank. And those bank presidents used to laugh at how they were getting money out by the Fox Valley Mall in Aurora for pennies on the dollar because of the farm collapse. The one coming, if all of this stuff for Project 2025 goes through, will cause a collapse in agriculture. That brings in foreign investors. That brings in corporate farming. And when you control the food, you control the masses. Hungry people, first, they want to go after education because stupid people are easier to control. Then if you're stupid and you're hungry, you're not going to pay attention to anything that's going around you. You're just going to, nose down, elbows up, keep working forward just to be able to survive. You're not going to pay attention. And we see this, Mark, don't we? Don't we see this with people who have to work at 2 and 3 jobs just to survive? And maybe they're getting a little bit of Section 8, maybe they're getting a little bit of SNAP, but it's not enough. So they've got to work and work and work and work and work. They can't pay attention to the fact that there's people up above them that are just screwing them over. And these big, massive tax cuts they're planning for the top, oh, God.
I know. In a perfect world, we would have a lot of folks, independent politicians, maybe a few Democrats, more Democrats, who are like Bernie Sanders Democrats. We don't, which is the other half of the problem. You would agree. A lot of the Democrats, they have pensions, they have a good job. They, the political class and the business class, they're just fine. But I think people, half the country is not fine. And people have to understand, they know anything about this country. The greatness of this country was started after the modern America started after the Second World War. Them days been gone. And so I don't know who's teaching them anything about the history and how to survive, especially when all this coming with this artificial intelligence. People, there will be jobs, but I don't know what type of jobs they're going to be. And if you're a young person in school, just came out of school and still in grammar school, you got to figure this stuff out. This is something.
The thing with wanting to end the Department of Education and therefore end public school is if you want to go to school, it's going to be just like college. You're going to have to take out a loan. You're going to have to pay to get in. Right? The school choice thing. We will be saddling people with debt beginning in preschool. If we don't get on top of this, Mark, what happened when Rahm Emanuel closed schools in Chicago?
Wait, don't get me started here, okay? Because don't get me started because that is it's different. It's so many different layers about Rahm. So I'm not one of those people because I live in I'm good. I live in Chicago. My old high school is Finger High School. It's probably was 3,000 people when I was there. It's probably about 300 there, if that now. Those schools going to have to close. Now he should not have done it when he done it. And it's a political mess because it's a lot of deceit. Without getting too far, because I'm not as well versed on issues like you are. When you see an issue, there are so many layers, and that's hard for people to really peel back the onions, all the different layers. So I don't care if it's Rahm Emanuel or Richard Nixon. These things are simple and complicated at the same time, but we don't have an education system or a media system, the media, whatever media, who is going to explain these things to people and say that at the end of the day, we're just human beings. We're all the same. And we have a lot more in common than what divides us. And we can really cut the deal and make life better for everyone. Win-win strategies, right?
Well, when we decide, and as a lifelong Democrat, when we decide as a Democratic Party that we're going to embrace the values that made us, I'm going to air quote this, great, because I don't know that we were ever great, but when we were functioning at a level where most people did well. The people that they paint the murals on the sides of empty buildings, it was all from the late 40s through the early 70s. When that happened, we had a good functioning education system. We prioritized that. We prioritized taking care of people in making things work for everyone. And it didn't go far enough. I mean, I have some problems. FDR is my favorite president. I have some problems with how he administered some of the programs that he did. But I think we have to embrace that and make our party about the people and not always just about the policy and not about the banking numbers and not about business. We have to remember our biggest and best commodity here in these United States, here in Illinois, is the people that live here. And when we can find a way to make sure that we take care of the people, that our tax dollars go to the work of making things a better place, good health care, good education, safe neighborhoods, good roads, when we go to make sure that we don't have kids that are hungry at night or even adults that are hungry at night and everybody's got a roof over their head, when we embrace those things as Democrats, as human beings, our country will be, I'm going to air quote this again, great. Right now we're just kind of sucky. And I just hate it. I lived on either side of Reagan. I remember what it was like before and after. And what's been done to all of us in the name of profit is killing us. And it's killing our politics. And the fact that the Democrats can't remember where we came from and why we were good at our jobs at one point, it's disgusting to me. I'm just so sick of everybody taking a step to the center, which is a step to the right, which is a step away from the people.
It's a never-ending battle. Heidi Henry, you are a wonderful American, a wonderful Democrat, and an Episcopalian. Thank you for being my guest.
Well, thank you, Mark, for having me on. I appreciate it.